Hi everybody, welcome to today's video. Now I hope that you've had lots of fun opening your gifts this week, that every day it's been a surprise. And this morning you would have opened up a little gift with some elastic in it. Now some of you might know that it is fold-over elastic, some of you have never worked with fold-over elastic again, and I'm sure you opened this gift and you thought, well, what on earth does she want me to do with this piece of elastic? Now I really love fold-over elastic. When I'm working with my knit fabrics, I will sometimes go, or most of the times, I will go and do a neck edge finish with my fold-over elastic. If I'm doing my tank tops, I would go and do it on that armhole as well. It just keeps that neckline from stretching, or that armhole from stretching. Plus it gives us design detail. It's adding some color. It's not just a band that we've sewn on, or it's not just that we folded it in and done a little bit of a hemming stitch over there. So many things that we can do with this. I use it on my lingerie. Guys, it is just so great to work with fold over elastic. Now I know I can talk for hours about this, but I wanted to show you. If I tell you I love fold over elastic, I really mean I love fold over elastic. This is just a couple of my fold over elastics that I'm sharing with you. If I go into a shop, I will always go see if there's fold over elastic. Now, most of my fold over elastic, the really nice ones that I do get, is from the ladies that are selling our lingerie fabrics, like Marinique and Centurion. There's also a Renee, which is in Pretoria. She is bramakers.co.za, or I think just Bramakers South Africa. She's got all the colors as well, and also Mari from Marinique has got all the colors available. You can order online from them. Now let me show you some of my elastics here. This is my all-time favorite. So when I bought this, I bought about, I don't even know how many meters, but I've still got left. It's a navy. It's got a bit of a shimmer to it. It's got silver on it, and I'm trying to see if you can see that. Look at that, how beautiful that is. So when I put it on my neck edge, I fold it over, and all you see is this silver finish that's there. And funny enough, I just saw some beautiful tank tops on the hip shop. Look at that photo there, look at that neck edge. I think it's more stitching that they've done with silver thread, but you know what, we're going to get the same finish if we've got a fancy elastic as well, and we are controlling that neckline. Now that was one of them. I bought it in gold, I bought it in silver. I've got bright colors from turquoise to my pinks to what, I've got so many colors, I can't even remember. So I'm just showing you some of them. So if I tell you, honestly, I love fold over elastic. But one thing that I also wanted to show you, oh yes, here's another one. Let's just open this one. This is very nice for more sportswear look. I just want to open this. I've already pressed this one. And I might have to take a photo if it doesn't show up nicely, but let me go closer. Look at that. It's got a bit of a gray line in there. So by the time you fold it over and you do it on the edge, you've got that beautiful gray line running through there again. Again, giving us design detail. That is what it's all about, taking something plain and just doing something small to it, and we've got such a beautiful design feature at the end of the day. Also to consider, we do get different widths. Now I like the wider one, especially if I'm doing bra making and I do it on the edges of the cups. Those ones I do get from the bra makers in Pretoria. And look how wide is that one. And then just your regular ones that you're going to find most of the time in your fabric stores and with Marinique is, let's put it like that, is 1.5 centimeters. This one is 2 centimeters. So it's just the finish. I'm getting a wider finish. So look at that finish over my finger there. And I'm going to take this one as well. Look at the finished width of these two. Can you see there? So I do have a wider one there. So I want you to get into the habit. When you go into a fabric store now, go and have a look. See what is there. This is such a nice must-have in our stash, that if you're working with that uncontrollable knits, it is going to just help you with that neckline, with that armhole, so that it's not stretching out. Sometimes I'll just do a t-shirt and I'll do it on the neck detail, for neck detail, but I've got my sleeves still on there as well. Now, in order to show you how to work with this, we are going to sew a little top, a little tank top. It's this one that I have over here. So I just wanted to touch on this tank top. what changes are made, some things that you've got to consider as well. And this pattern is a free digital pattern. It is the Largo tank top, and I want you to go download it. I will give you a link at the bottom of this video as well for one of my previous videos when I did a sew along, where I actually show you how to download it, how to print it, how to tape it together. I'm not going to go into detail with this. This video is really about how are we going to work with our elastic. Now go get your pattern ready. If you are someone that don't want to make a tank top and you want to make a t-shirt, go make a t-shirt. If you want a nice free digital pattern on t-shirts as well, go look at the Plantain. I think it's Plantain or Plantain. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Again, one of my all-time favorites. I make it a lot because it's beautifully fitted on the bust area and it just softly flares out towards the hip area as well. So go look what you want to do there, but I'm going to be talking to you about the Largo tank top, what I looked at, what changes I made. Now I've just got a little part of my pattern here. I've already gone and cut it out, so I just printed again so that I can talk you through the changes that I look at. Now first off, when you are going to take any pattern and you're going to be doing fold over elastic, you've got to consider what is the seam allowance of the pattern. How did they finish that neck edge? Is there a band sewn on? How wide is that band? If that band, let's say, is a finished measurement of 2 centimeters, that means I've got to lift my neckline a little bit. Because if I don't lift the neckline and I just do the fold over elastic, which just goes over my fabric, I am going to have to now, I'm going to have a neckline that's too low. So that's one of the things. Then I will go and I will lift that neckline. If it is a finish where they are going to maybe just sew on a strip, like almost do like a buyer's finish that you fold in, and that's one of my ways that I sometimes work. I'll go sew on a strip of fabric and I just fold it all the way in. Then I've got to think, okay, when it's folded in, that seam allowance is folded into the wrong side. So now I've got to go to my pattern, look at what seam allowance is on that pattern, remove that seam allowance, go cut it off, because we are not sewing anything that's going to be folding in. This is literally going to be just going over my fabric, that fold over elastic. So that is what I look at. When I looked at the Largo tank as well, and I want you to have a look at this, can you see that shoulder? That shoulder is quite narrow, and if we look at my pattern here as well, it is quite narrow. And I decided I do need it to be a little bit wider because I want to cover my bra strap. This is the back pattern piece. So also looking at the back pattern piece, it scoops in quite a lot. So it looks almost like a racer back for me, and I know that was a no-no for me as well because my bra strap is going to show. So all I did, I really went to my pattern piece. This one already, she's got such a narrow band for the armhole and also for the neckline, that by the time you take off your 1 centimeter seam allowance, if I've sewn it, and this is my band, I actually go and I fold it. Just want to show you, and I say there's my seam allowance, and I'm just going to draw there that seam allowance. So if I measured that, it was a 1 centimeter finished measurement. Now here's a 1 centimeter here as well, and visually go do it. If that is 1 centimeter and I've sewn this, and I'm just going to put it there, and that 1 centimeter stitch line and that stitch line goes on top of each other, can you see it's not going further out? It is literally still on that edge. So I knew I'm not going to be going and cutting off my seam allowance. I hope that I'm not talking too fast. I'm not wanting to really go into much detail on pattern design, what we're looking at, but I do want you to always consider that, and this is one way of doing it. Draw your stitching line. Go draw your stitching line, put the 2 stitching lines and see how far that pattern is extending. If it's further, you can go measure it and say, that was the finished edge. So I know I've got to go and add on. That is just part of designing patterns. And if you ever start doing any of my pattern design courses with me, we go really into detail with that. So all I really wanted to do with this is just make that shoulder, on that shoulder edge, make it wider so that my bra is going to be covered. Now on the back pattern piece, I measured the shoulder length there, and that was 4 centimeters. Now my shoulder measurement is 12 centimeters. So I decided I wanted it either half of that or just a little bit more than my half. So about 6 centimeters or 6.5 centimeters I'm feeling comfortable with. And because it's scooped in so much, With this one, I'm actually going to be extending it out to my shoulder point, and I'm not worrying about that neck point going in. Again, I don't know when she designed that pattern how far she actually intended to go in, so I'm not going to worry about going in. Looking at the photo of the images of her pattern when people have got it on, I'm happy with where it's sitting there. Again, it's a visual that I had to look at. So all we're going to do, I'm going to extend the shoulder, and I'm going to work with a blue pencil now. I'm working with a red pencil. This is the Ticonderoga erasable pencils that I bring in from the USA. They work beautifully, they erase. So even when I am working, and I just wanted to show you this, when I do pattern work for Schufer Designs and I am working on my tracing vellum, I'm just going to draw a line there. Or when I do changes on my pattern pieces, when I'm working with commercial patterns, now this is my commercial pattern paper, I will always go in a nice color and I'll go do all the pattern changes or draw any design lines if I want to change necks or whatever. And if I do make a mistake or I decide I'm going to change it, I can always go and just erase it. And it erases beautifully on my commercial pattern paper as well as, and I really did it quite dark so you guys can see it, and it also erases beautifully on my tracing vellum. So this is always something handy to have. Just don't ever confuse it with your fabric markers. It is going to actually just mark your fabric and you're going to have something that can't come out. So let's have a look at my change. So I know this was 4 centimeters. I want to extend it, and I'm going to work with half my shoulder measurement. So I'm going to extend it, and I'm working in a blue pencil now so you can see. So I'm going to extend it with 2 centimeters. If you extend on the back with 2 centimeters, you extend on the front with 2 centimeters. Don't go measure it. When I measured hers, it was slightly off her measurement. It was, I think the front was slightly shorter than what the back was on the pattern size that I chose. So I literally just went and I extended it. So 2 centimeters, so it means on the front I'm going to add 2 centimeters. All I'm going to do now, and I'm just turning this sideways so that it's easier for me to work. I'm just going to go, and I know I want to pick it up from about there. Look where that underarm point is. I'm going to go in about so much, and if I say so much, let's just see. I'm going in about 4.5 centimeters, 5 centimeters. Again, I'm working on my pattern size that I chose here, and I am just going to put a ruler there. If you don't have the Sherford ruler, take your normal French curve or any ruler that's got a bit of a curve and just go redraw this line for yourself. So I'm putting it down there and I'm going back and I'm just connecting it to my shoulder point there. And that is just going to allow me to cover that bra of mine. I can even decide to go even more like this. If I want to cover more of my back, I'm going to play with this ruler. So I can maybe go from there, because I really do need to cover my bra strap. I can't have it showing. So look how much I've added on. On my original pattern I didn't add on as much, but I know with my next pattern that I'm going to do, I think I am going to go to this shape. So that is my first one that I've done. Now if we look at the front, and let's just go to the front. This is, you can see it says center front, so I know this is my neck area. And this is the underarm section. What I do like, she's got a slight curve there, which is giving us a bit of shape and giving us a bit more fabric over the bust area. And again, I went and I drew in red my lines, the original lines, so that you can see. With her pattern, you can also go and, oh, there's my pinks. I don't think I showed you my pinks and my turquoise. But let's go back to this. With her pattern, what I've done, I printed 2 sizes, because with my hips being bigger, I always go from the smaller size to the bigger size. Go and read the instructions. It works beautifully if you go to your Adobe app on your computer. Open it there, because then you can print the layers. You don't need to print all those sizes. Those lines just confuse you. Again, on my YouTube video that I've linked for you, I do talk more, give you more detail about that. So before I'm going to do that, I need to extend, and I'm just going to extend this line, and I'm going to extend it with 2 centimeters. Yes, this one was, the front was actually a 0.5 centimeter longer than the back, and I think it was because of the angle she has there, the way that it's going to sew into that neck edge over there. So there we go, I've extended my 2 centimeters. I'm picking up with my ruler again because I do want more coverage on this area. So guys, we're just chatting about patterns today. We're talking about sewing elastic, but I thought, you know what, we all on a public holiday, you've got a bit more time, you can go and play with these patterns. So that is literally all I've done. Once you've done this, I want you to just fold it back before you cut anything and go put your pattern pieces together and make sure that they are matching. And if I'm doing that, can you see she's got a slightly longer on her pattern piece, on that one piece. So I can decide that if I do that, can you see that 0.5 centimeter? Look at her difference there, but I think she's wanting to stretch the one into the other, so I'm not going to go and do any more changes in there. I'm just going to leave it as it is, and I will make sure that my back, when I sew it in, I'm just going to stretch it just that little bit. It's just going to give us a better fit on that area. So that is my changes that I've done. And then on my pattern as well, my big pattern piece, I just wanted to show you. I mentioned to you that I always go from a smaller size to a bigger size. And again, you can see there's my red line going on there, and I do hope you can see it. I'll try and zoom in, and where that wide edge is, that is how much I added on, because I'm a size bigger on that area. So that is the only changes I've done. From here, I really want you to just go look at what you've got in your stash. All of us have got stash. This takes less than 1 meter of fabric, so it is such a nice project to do. You can use up any of your fabric that you have left. Go and print your pattern now. Make sure that when you are printing that it says actual size or 100%. Don't fit to page. Your pattern pieces won't be correct. Go print it out, stick it together. It's going to take you not even 20 minutes. It's only a couple of pages that you've got to stick together. Cut out your fabric. I decided that I'm working with this, and I just need to, my elastic fell. I just want to show you this finish. Let's just pull this slightly closer so that you can see. Now, instead of having a plain finish like that, if I'm going to take my elastic and I'm just going to fold it in here and fold it over, look at giving that edge. Look how beautiful it's actually giving me that finish. Automatically, it's almost, I don't know how to put it, guys, but it's just, for me, it just finishes it off. It's not just a stitch line that's going there because we folded it in or we did a bit of a neck band. It really, when I'm going to do this, and I'm just folding it again so that you can see, and I'm going to just take it around a little bit, and my hands are in the way. But look at that. It almost just, I'm looking for a word and I can't think of it now. It grounds it. I think that's the word that I'm looking for. So go ahead, cut out your pattern pieces so that we can sew our little top, and it is going to be a quick sew. It is literally side seams, shoulder seams, and then we're going to do our elastic on the neck and on the armhole, a bit of hemming, and I'm going to chat to you about a new thread that just arrived, amazing thread. So we'll be chatting about that in the next section.